The shelves in stores are beginning to empty. The names of large corporations are disappearing from storefronts. And what's left, what truly remains, is the growing concern of the people. What am I going to do now? They ask. How am I going to make ends meet? Everything is incredibly expensive. Life in cities like Chicago has become unsustainable. Scarcity is no longer a distant fear. It's a reality hitting every corner. Empty shelves. Half-filled shopping carts. Prices that keep rising. What many feared is happening. The main cause, the new tariffs imposed by Donald Trump. A strategic shift that, in theory, aimed to protect American industry but is, in practice, causing a major earthquake in the national economy. The CEO of Walmart, the country's largest retail chain, has sounded the alarm. The stock of products from China has run out. And the worst part, replenishing those products will be nearly impossible in the short term. Executives from Walmart, Target, and Home Depot held an emergency meeting with the president. The reason? To report the catastrophic damage the tariffs are causing. Serious disruptions in the supply chain, skyrocketing prices, and millions in losses. And while they tried to negotiate a solution, the situation in stores worsened. Empty shelves where there used to be ice cream, fruit, and basic products. Essential items that can no longer be found. Products that were once affordable for anyone are now a luxury for a few. There are not enough crops. There are not enough imports. What remains is scarce and, moreover, very expensive. Merchants themselves no longer know what to say to their customers. There's none, they repeat again and again, resigned, as they watch frustration grow with every glance. The executives were clear. Shelves of toys, cheap clothing, and home goods imported from China are emptying at an alarming rate. Seasonal clothing, which barely lasts a few months on display, is already scarce because there wasn't enough stock when the new tariffs were imposed. All our products come from China, they admitted. And although the big chains tried to get ahead by buying more inventory, that margin evaporated in just a few weeks. Walmart, for example, estimates that in just 2 weeks, its shelves will be completely empty of key products, as 80% of what they sell relies directly on Chinese suppliers. We can't absorb these costs, they admitted at Home Depot. Not only have orders been canceled, but many stores have stopped restocking. A bleak picture for retailers and for consumers. Target is trying to salvage the situation by turning to Mexican products to fill its food shelves. But there's a major obstacle. Mexico is also changing its trade policies. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum has ordered a 15% reduction in exports to the United States, aiming to diversify markets and decrease dependence on the dollar. And next year, that reduction will be even greater, 30%. This means there will be demand, but less and less supply. And when the market runs out of products, prices explode. Tomatoes, lettuce, ketchup, everything will become uncontrollably more expensive. At Costco, the image is already striking. Long lines of shopping carts, completely empty. At least a third of their products came from China. To avoid extreme price hikes, the company has started pulling items from its catalog. It's a desperate attempt to contain domestic inflation. Meanwhile, daily life becomes more difficult. Every trip to the supermarket is a blow to the wallet. And we're not talking about luxury products. We're talking about bread, milk, vegetables. The basics, the essentials for survival. Trump's actions are causing an economic earthquake. Not only in major cities, but also in small towns where supply was already limited. PepsiCo, one of the largest multinational food and beverage companies, has suffered a dramatic drop in profits. It lost a third of its earnings in just 3 months. Why? Production and distribution costs have skyrocketed. And what's happening with PepsiCo is just a reflection of what's going on across the entire system. Supply chains are broken. The cost of producing, storing, and selling food has dramatically increased. Large corporations are still holding up thanks to their financial reserves. But small family businesses are on the brink of collapse. Neighborhood shops, restaurants, workshops. Experts warn they will be the first to disappear if the situation doesn't improve. In an attempt to survive, companies are desperately looking for alternatives. But the reality is harsh. Maritime traffic from China has fallen by 40%. And what does arrive at the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach often comes empty. The U.S. government itself is now considering softening some tariffs to try to stop the disaster. But many economists fear it may already be too late. The damage is done. And reversing it will take years, maybe a decade. Other sectors are also beginning to suffer. Construction, for example, is living its own drama. The prices of basic materials like steel, wood, and cement have soared to astronomical levels. Buying a home in the U.S. today is $20,000 more expensive than it was just 6 months ago. And the trend is still on the rise. Inflation doesn't give up, and people are starting to lose patience. Protests, strikes, partial stoppages, social unrest is growing every day, like a snowball threatening to overflow. Citizens are demanding answers. They want concrete solutions. Because they know the situation will only worsen if urgent measures aren't taken. Anxiety and hopelessness are beginning to settle in a society that once considered itself immune to this kind of crisis. Under pressure from reality, Donald Trump recently announced that he has started new negotiations with China to try to reduce tariffs. But from Beijing, the response was clear: there will be no negotiations. The trade war will continue to its last consequences. Today, there are no real advances. No agreements in sight. And even if talks were resumed, Chinese suppliers have already found new markets: Europe, Latin America, Southeast Asia. The United States is no longer the preferred customer. And recovering that status will be very difficult, almost an impossible mission, according to top analysts. So, like it or not, scarcity will continue to grow. Prices will keep rising. And day-to-day life will become harder for millions of Americans. In the face of this perfect storm, the inevitable question is, are we prepared to endure it? Are we ready to face a crisis that could last for years or even permanently transform the American way of life? The answer, for now, is unsettling. Time is running out, and the margin for error is getting smaller. If you liked the video, give it a like and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you next time.